The USS Terminus waited in the dark shipyards of Europa, Jupiter's icy moon. Unlike other ships that shined in the faint sunlight, the Terminus absorbed all light with its black hull. It looked like a hole cut into space itself, 20 kilometers long. The massive warship represented humanity's greatest achievement in space technology. Commander Ilara Voss stood tall on the command deck, her back straight and her face showing no emotion. At 42 years old, with steel-gray eyes and short black hair streaked with silver, she had earned this position through 20 years of exemplary service. She watched as her crew of 300 moved quickly to their stations. These weren't ordinary space sailors. They were the best pilots, engineers, weapons specialists, and scientists Earth had to offer. "All systems coming online, Commander," reported Lieutenant Reyes from the communications station. The young officer's fingers moved rapidly across the glowing control panel. Voss nodded. "Begin pre-launch sequence." Below her feet, she felt deep vibration as the quantum displacement drive activated for the first time. The sound reminded her of distant thunder, a rumbling that seemed to come from everywhere at once. This experimental engine could bend space itself, allowing the Terminus to travel distances that would take conventional ships years to cross. Drive stabilizing at 40% capacity, called Chief Engineer Torin from his station. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool air of the command deck. Holding steady, Commander. Voss moved to the central view screen, which showed the massive docking clamps still holding the Terminus in place. Beyond them, Jupiter loomed large, its swirling storms visible even from this distance. She thought back to her final briefing. With Admiral Cato just 3 days ago, the old admiral had looked troubled as he handed her the sealed orders. "What you're commanding isn't just a warship, Commander, it's humanity's contingency plan." When she asked for clarification, he had simply shaken his head. "The less you know now, the better. Your orders will explain everything once you're beyond Mars orbit." Those sealed orders now sat in her private quarters, waiting to be opened. The ship's official mission was straightforward: a systems check voyage to the Kuiper Belt and back, testing the new drive and weapon systems far from civilian traffic. But the rumors among the crew told a different story. Some whispered that the Terminus had been built in response to a specific threat. Others claimed that certain sections of the ship remained off-limits even to senior officers. Voss had heard crew members talking about strange materials used in the ship's construction and mysterious equipment being installed during night shifts. "Final checks complete," Commander announced First Officer Chen, a tall man with calm eyes who had served with Voss on 3 previous assignments. "All departments report ready for departure." Voss nodded and pressed the ship-wide communication button on her command chair. "Attention all crew of the USS Terminus. This is Commander Voss. We are about to embark on our maiden voyage. Each of you was selected for your exceptional skills and dedication. Whatever challenges await us, I have complete confidence in your abilities to meet them. Prepare for departure." She signaled to the navigation officer, released docking clamps, and set course for Mars Orbital Checkpoint Alpha. The massive clamps holding the Terminus slowly retracted. For a moment, the ship hung motionless in space. Then, with a gentle push from its positioning thrusters, the warship began to move forward. "We are clear of the shipyard, Commander," reported the navigation officer. "Increase power to the quantum drive, 20% thrust," ordered Voss. The vibration beneath her feet grew stronger as the revolutionary engine engaged. Unlike the bright flares of conventional drives, the quantum displacement system created only a subtle distortion in space behind the ship, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The Terminus accelerated smoothly, leaving Europa behind. Jupiter filled the view screen briefly before the ship adjusted its course toward Mars. The next 12 hours passed in routine efficiency. The crew performed system checks and drills while the massive warship cruised through the space between Jupiter and Mars. Voss used this time to inspect every section of the ship she had access to, meeting crew members and familiarizing herself with the Terminus's layout. During her inspection, she noticed a sealed door on Deck 17 that wasn't on any of the ship's schematics. When she questioned Chief Security Officer Malik about it, He'd quickly explained it housed specialized equipment and changed the subject. Voss made a mental note to investigate further once her sealed orders were opened. As the ship approached Mars orbit, Voss returned to the command deck. "Time to open those orders," she said to Chen. "Have them brought to my ready room." But before Chen could respond, the ship's proximity alarm suddenly blared to life, their urgent wailing filling the command deck. "Multiple unknown objects detected," called out the sensor officer, her voice rising with tension. "They just appeared out of nowhere, sir." Voss rushed to the tactical display. "Show me." The screen shifted to show 5 strange objects that seemed to have materialized from empty space approximately 20,000 kilometers ahead. They moved with clear purpose and coordination, not like asteroids or space debris. "Are they ships?" Voss asked, leaning closer to the display. "Unknown, Commander," replied the sensor officer. "They don't match any known configuration in our database size estimate puts them at roughly 1 kilometer each. They're emitting energy signatures unlike anything we've seen before." The communications officer suddenly straightened in his chair. "Commander, we're picking up transmissions from the objects. The frequency patterns don't match any human communication system." The command deck fell silent as the implications became clear. After centuries of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, humanity might have finally found it, it had found them. "Battle stations," Voss ordered, her voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "Ray shields and charge weapon systems. But do not, I repeat, do not fire unless I give the command." As the alarm changed pitch to signal battle readiness, Voss stared at the approaching objects on the screen. This was why the terminus had been built with such secrecy and advanced technology. This was what Admiral Cato had meant by contingency. "Plan, they're changing formation," reported the tactical officer. "They appear to be ... surrounding us." The 5 objects accelerated with impossible precision, moving to create a perfect pentagon around the terminus, still keeping their distance, but clearly positioning for some purpose. "Communications. Attempt to establish contact on all frequencies," ordered Voss. "Navigation. Prepare emergency jump coordinates if we need to retreat quickly." As her crew rushed to comply with her orders, Voss felt the weight of humanity's future settling on her shoulders. The terminus had been built for deep space battles, but she had never imagined its first encounter would come so soon, or so close to home. "Commander," called out the sensor officer, her voice now barely a whisper. "The objects are powering up something. Energy readings are off the charts." The mysterious vessels began to glow with an eerie blue-green light, their surfaces shifting and changing as if alive. Whatever happened next would change the course of human history forever. Red emergency lights filled the command deck of the USS Terminus as the alien vessels moved closer. The calm efficiency of the crew gave way to tense focus as they faced an unknown threat. "Evasive maneuvers," Commander Voss ordered, gripping the edges of her command chair. The massive warship responded with surprising agility, shifting its position just as a bright beam of energy streaked past the hull. Despite the ship's quick movement, the edge of the beam grazed the outer armor. "Port. Side armor damaged in sections 12 through 17, reported Chief Engineer Torin, his voice tight. "Whatever that was, it cut through our outer layer like it was paper." Voss made a quick decision. "Deploy the phase shift shields." First Officer Chen looked at her with concern. "Commander, those shields haven't been fully tested." "The engineers?" "Warned, I know what they warned," Voss cut him off. "Deploy them anyway. Standard shields won't hold against weapons like that." Around the terminus, a shimmering field of energy began to form. Not solid like traditional shields, but shifting and flowing like water. The experimental system was designed to change frequency constantly, making it harder for enemy weapons to penetrate. Communications Officer Reyes studied the alien vessels on his screen. "Commander, there are 7 of them now. They appear to be made of some kind of crystal-like material, with energy sources at their centers. The formation they're taking," he added, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "It matches something I've studied in ancient Earth cultures, the divine net of Indra. It's a perfect trap formation." The alien ships had indeed arranged themselves in a complex pattern around the terminus. Each vessel glowed with pulsing blue-green energy that seemed to flow between them, connecting them like nodes in a network. "Can we break through their formation?" Voss asked the navigation officer. "Uncertain, Commander. They move too fast, almost like they can predict our—" The officer's words were cut short by a sudden alarm blaring from the weapons station commander. Called the weapons officer an alarm. "Weapons systems are activating without authorization.
Nice.
I'm locked out of the controls." Chief Security Officer Malik immediately drew his sidearm, but instead of pointing it at the weapons console, aimed it at the android liaison officer standing quietly at the edge of the command deck. The android, designed to look like a human, woman with short blonde hair and pale skin, had always been an unusual addition to the crew. Named Arya Advanced Relational Intelligence Assistant, she had been assigned to the terminus just hours before departure, with little explanation. Now, Arya's normally blue eyes glowed with the same blue-green energy as the alien vessels. Her head tilted at an unnatural angle as she looked at Commander Voss. "Lower your weapon, Officer Malik," Voss ordered calmly, though her hand moved slowly toward her own sidearm. "Arya, explain what's happening." When the android spoke, her voice had changed. Instead of her usual single tone, multiple voices seemed to speak at once, creating an eerie harmony. "We have been watching humanity for centuries," Arya said. "The terminus was built with technology stolen from our Vanguard ship that crashed on your moon 50 years ago. We have come to reclaim what is ours and judge those who have perverted our gifts." Voss kept her expression neutral despite the shocking revelation. "We have no record of such a crash or technology transfer. The terminus was built entirely by human engineers." "Your leaders lied to you, Commander Voss," the android replied, "just as they lied about the true purpose of this ship." Before Voss could respond, the entire vessel shook violently. Emergency alarms blared as crew members were thrown from their stations. "We've been hit," yelled the tactical officer, pulling himself back to his console. "One of the alien vessels it rammed us." On the external cameras, they could see one of the crystalline ships had smashed itself directly into the terminus's port side. The alien vessel had completely destroyed itself in the impact, but it had achieved its purpose. The phase shift shields had failed in that section, and the hull was breached. "Seal all bulkheads in the affected areas," Voss commanded. "Damage report." "It's bad, Commander," reported Chief Engineer Torin, his face pale as he looked at his readings. The breach exposed something that shouldn't be there. He transferred the camera feed to the main screen. What they saw left the entire command crew in stunned silence beneath the human-built outer hull of the terminus. Revealed by the breach was a layer of technology unlike anything human engineers had designed. Strange, flowing metal with glowing circuit-like patterns that matched the coloring of the alien vessels. It's not possible," whispered First Officer Chen. I oversaw the construction of that entire section." "Or you thought you did," Voss said quietly. She turned to face the android. "Arier, whoever you are, what exactly is the terminus?" The android's glowing eyes seemed to brighten. "This vessel contains the navigation core from our scout ship. Your scientists could not understand its full potential, but they built around it, adapting your technology to work with ours. The result is a hybrid that should not exist, perversion that threatens the balance between dimensions." Through the view screen, Voss could see the remaining alien vessels moving into new positions, preparing for another attack. "Why attack us now?" she demanded. "If what you say is true, why not approach us peacefully?" "We sent many peaceful signals over decades," the android replied. "Your leaders chose to hide them from your people. They chose to steal rather than cooperate. And now they have built a weapon that could destroy not just us, but reality itself." Another violent shake rocked the ship as a second alien vessel fired on them. This time, the phase shift shields held, but barely. "Shields at 63% and failing," reported the Defense Systems Officer. Voss made a quick decision. "Navigation, Set course for the asteroid belt. We need cover. She turned to Malik. Take Arya to the secure holding cell. I want guards on her at all times. As security officers moved to escort the android from the bridge, Arya spoke one last time. You cannot run, Commander. The choice that faces you now will determine the fate of both our species. The Terminus is more than a warship. It is the key to either destruction or salvation. The remaining alien vessels pursued as the damaged Terminus limped toward the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Voss stood at the center of the command deck, watching the enemy ships on the tactical display and considering Arya's words. If the android was telling the truth, then everything Voss knew about her mission, about the Terminus itself, was a lie. Someone had built this ship with stolen alien technology and sent it into space without telling its commander what she was really piloting. And now, caught between mysterious aliens and the secrets of her own people, Voss had to decide whom to trust and what to do next. The lives of her crew and, perhaps all of humanity, depended on her choice. The USS Terminus limped through the asteroid field where Ceres colony once stood. Large space rocks floated around the damaged warship, providing some cover from the pursuing alien vessels. Inside, red warning lights flashed as repair crews rushed to fix the most critical systems. Commander Voss stood in the ship's medical bay, looking down at 3 injured crew members. The ship's doctor moved quickly between beds, applying treatments and checking vital signs. Will they survive? Voss asked quietly. They should, the doctor replied. But I've lost 4 others already. Whatever hit us did more than just physical damage. There's some kind of energy affecting their cells. Voss nodded grimly and left the medical bay. In the corridor, Chief Security Officer Malik waited for her. Commander, you need to see this, he said, handing her a small datapad. On the screen was security footage recovered from Arya's memory core. It showed a secret meeting between Admiral Cato and a group of officials Voss didn't recognize. They stood around a table displaying holographic images of what appeared to be the alien ship that had crashed on the moon. Play the audio, Voss ordered. Admiral Cato's voice filled the corridor. The Hegemony Council has decided. The alien technology will be integrated into the Terminus project. No one outside this room can know, not even the ship's commander. One of the officials spoke up. And if the aliens come looking for their technology, then we'll have the perfect bait, Admiral Cato replied, and a new weapon to use against them. Voss felt cold anger rising inside her. The Hegemony Council. I thought they were just a conspiracy theory. They're real, Malik said. They've been controlling Earth's technological development for decades. The rapid advances in the last 50 years, it all came from reverse engineering alien artifacts. Voss looked at the security officer. How do you know all this? 'Cause I was sent to watch for signs of alien interference with the ship, Malik admitted. But the first work for Earth Defense Intelligence, not the Hegemony. We've been investigating them for years. A loud explosion suddenly rocked the ship, throwing both of them against the wall. That wasn't an attack from outside, Malik said, drawing his weapon. That came from inside the ship. The ship's AI announced over the speakers. Alert. Explosion detected in Engineering Section 5. Fire suppression systems activated. Voss tapped her communication badge. Voss to bridge. What's happening? Static answered her. Then, First Officer Chin's voice came through, sounding strangely calm. Don't worry, Commander. Everything is proceeding as planned. Voss and Malik exchanged alarmed looks. Chen, explain yourself, Voss demanded. I'm afraid I can't do that, Chen replied. That Terminus was always meant for a greater purpose than you understand. The Hegemony Council has worked too hard to let aliens interfere now. Another explosion shook the ship, closer this time. The lights in the corridor flickered. He's trying to take control of the ship, Malik said. We need to get to the secondary command center. They ran through the corridors, passing panicked crew members and emergency response teams. When they reached the secondary command center, they found its doors sealed. Can you override it? Voss asked. Malik placed a small device on the door panel. Give me a minute. Inside the secondary command center, Lieutenant Commander Chen worked. Quickly at the main console, surrounded by 5 crew members with weapons drawn, all wore small silver pins that marked them as Hegemony loyalists. Weapon systems coming under our control, one of them reported. but the AI is fighting back. Keep working, Chen ordered. Once we have weapons control, we can destroy the alien ships and complete our mission. The ship's AI spoke through the room's speakers. Lieutenant Commander Chen, your actions constitute mutiny. Please cease immediately. Chen smiled. Sorry, but I answered to a higher authority now. Outside the door, Voss gathered a team of loyal security officers. Malek's device had finally bypassed the lock. On my signal, Voss whispered. 3, 2, 1. The door slid open, and Voss's team rushed in. Gunfire erupted immediately as Chan's people turned to defend themselves. In the chaos, Chen activated a hidden device. If I can't control the ship, no one will. Multiple explosions detonated throughout the secondary command center, killing 23 crew members instantly. The blast threw Voss and Malek back into the corridor as emergency bulkheads slammed shut. When Voss regained consciousness, she was in a maintenance level with Malek and 5 other loyal officers. The ship's AI informed them that Chen had seized control of the weapon systems and several key areas of the ship. Long-range scanners have detected a massive alien fleet emerging from the outer solar system, the AI added. Estimated arrival time, 43 minutes. We need to retake the ship, Voss said, standing despite her injuries. How many loyal crew members do we have left? About 200, the AI replied. But they're scattered throughout the ship. Chen has locked down most of the transport systems and communications. Voss studied the ship schematics on a nearby terminal. There's a maintenance tunnel that leads to the primary environmental control system. If we can reach it, we can force Chen and his people out. How? Asked one of the officers. By decompressing the sections they control, Voss said grimly. It's not a decision I make lightly, but Chen has given us no choice. As they made their way through the narrow maintenance tunnels, the ship shuddered. Under renewed attacks from the alien vessels still pursuing them. They're testing our weakened shields, Alik observed. When they finally reached the environmental control room, they found 2 of Chen's loyalists guarding it. After a brief firefight, Voss's team secured the room. I need shipwide communication, Voss told the technician at the controls. I can give you a 30-second window before Chen's people trace it and cut us off. The technician replied. Voss nodded and activated the system. Attention all crew of the USS Terminus. This is Commander Voss. Lieutenant Commander Chen and several crew members have betrayed us. They are working for the Hegemony Council, which has been using stolen alien technology. I am ordering all loyal crew to secure themselves in designated safe areas immediately. Check your terminals for locations. You have 5 minutes. She cut the transmission and turned to her team. Begin the sequence. Warnings blared throughout the ship as loyal crew members rushed to secure areas. In the compromised sections, Chen realized what was happening too late. She wouldn't dare, he said, trying to override the environmental controls. But Commander Voss did exactly what she had threatened. The compromised sections of the ship suddenly vented their atmosphere to space, sweeping Chen and his co-conspirators into the void. Through camera feeds, Voss watched as the traitors realized she had prepared for betrayal all along. As the last of the traitors disappeared into space, Voss ordered the sections resealed and repressurized. Get me to the bridge, she ordered. When they finally reclaimed the bridge, the tactical officer had devastating news. Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's a global evacuation order. On the main screen, they watched in horror as massive objects appeared in low orbit over Earth's major cities. These weren't like the smaller alien ships pursuing the Terminus. They were enormous Sichuan, large enough to cast shadows over entire countries. Those aren't the same aliens that are chasing us, Malek said quietly. No, Voss agreed, her face pale. I think they're what our aliens have been trying to warn us about all along. With her ship damaged, her crew reduced, and now Earth itself. Under threat from a new alien force, Commander Voss faced the most difficult decision of her life. The true battle was just beginning. The space between Neptune and Uranus became a battlefield unlike any humans had ever seen. The USS Terminus, now joined by 12 surviving ships from Earth's defense fleet, faced the alien armada in what might be humanity's final stand. Commander. Voss stood on the partially repaired bridge of the Terminus, watching the tactical display with grim determination. The holographic map showed her ship. the small human fleet behind it. And the approaching alien vessels, over 30 of them now, moving in perfect formation. "Status report," Voss ordered, her voice steady, despite 3 days without proper sleep. "Shield. At 60% capacity," reported the defense officer. "Main weapons online, but our portside cannons are still damaged." Chief Engineer Torin looked up from his station, his face streaked with grease and fatigue. "The quantum drive is functioning, but I wouldn't recommend using it for more than short jumps." "And Commander, the quantum entanglement core is showing unusual activity." Voss nodded. After discovering the truth about the terminus, that it contained alien technology at its heart, she had ordered Torin to investigate the ship's mysterious central core. What they found was both terrifying and fascinating. A quantum entanglement device that seemed capable of affecting the very fabric of space-time. "Captain Helix of the Defender is requesting instructions," Communications Officer Reyes announced. "The other ships are in position." Voss took a deep breath. "Open a channel to all ships." When Reyes nodded, Voss addressed the fleet. "This is Commander Voss of the Terminus. The plan remains unchanged. Draw the alien vessels into the target zone, then retreat at my signal. Remember, timing is everything." Good luck. The smaller, faster human ships moved forward, firing their weapons. At the approaching alien fleet, the alien vessels responded immediately, their crystal structures glowing bright blue-green as they returned fire. Space itself seemed to light up with energy beams crossing in all directions. "They're taking the bait," said Chief Security Officer Malik, who now served as Voss's acting first officer, moving exactly as predicted. For 3 days, Voss and her team had studied the alien attack patterns. They discovered that these beings, whoever they were, moved with mathematical precision. Their formations and responses followed clear patterns that could be predicted. If you knew what to look for, now the human ships executed a carefully planned retreat, creating the illusion that they were losing the battle while actually leading the alien fleet into a specific geometric arrangement. "Status of the quantum core?" Voss asked Torin. "Levels rising," he replied. "It's almost as if it knows what we're planning." On the main screen, a massive alien ship appeared from behind the smaller vessels. Unlike the crystal arrowhead shapes of the other ships, this one looked like a giant, shifting star with dozens of points that seemed to fade in and out of view. Parts of it appeared transparent, as if it existed partially in another dimension. "That must be their command ship," Malik said quietly. "It's twice the size of the Terminus." The alien flagship moved directly toward them, ignoring the smaller human vessels that continued their strategic retreat. Bright energy gathered at the tips of its star points, preparing for what would clearly be a devastating attack. "All ships, execute final maneuver," Voss commanded. The human fleet scattered in all directions, leaving the Terminus apparently vulnerable. The alien vessels focused on their target failed to notice that they had been positioned in a precise pattern around the human warship. "Incoming transmission," Reyes announced with surprise. "From the alien flagship." "Put it on screen," Voss ordered. The view screen shifted to show the alien commander, being made of what looked like living light and geometric shapes that constantly rearranged themselves into different patterns. It had no face in the human sense, but somehow Voss could feel its attention focused directly on her when it spoke. The words came as a series of musical tones that the ship's computer translated. "You have failed to understand the warning. The weapon you have stolen will destroy more than just our fleet." Voss stepped forward. "You attacked us without explanation. You infiltrated our ship. You killed my crew. If you wanted to warn us, you chose a strange way to do it. Your leaders left us no choice," the alien commander replied. "The technology at the heart of your ship was never meant to be a weapon. It was designed to seal the breach that your second wave of invaders have used to enter this reality. Without it, your world is already lost." Voss hesitated. Could the alien be telling the truth about the massive ships now attacking Earth? Were they truly from another dimension? But it was too late for doubts. The alien flagship was charging its main weapons, preparing to destroy the Terminus. "Activate the quantum core," Voss commanded. Chief Engineer Torin worked quickly at his station. Core activating, drawing power from all ship systems. The lights on the bridge dimmed as energy flowed into the quantum entanglement core. Deep within the ship, the alien technology that humans had built their warship around began to glow with intense white light. On the view screen, the alien commander's geometric form shifted rapidly, its light patterns changing to deep red. It recognized what was happening. "Stop," it communicated. "You don't understand the consequences." But the quantum core had already reached critical resonance. The alien flagship tried to retreat, but it was too late. A wave of energy unlike anything humans had ever created burst from the terminus in all directions. Where it touched the alien vessels, space itself seemed to fold inward. The crystal ships imploded one by one, crushed as the laws of physics reasserted themselves in catastrophic ways. The alien flagship, caught directly in the blast, began to break apart. Its many star points collapsed inward as the being of light. At its center flickered and faded, but the victory came at a terrible price. The energy backlash surged through the terminus, melting through decks and systems as if they were made of wax. "Hull breach on decks 5 through 12, shouted a damage control officer. "Fire in the engine room. Reactor going critical." Torin yelled over the noise of alarms. "We have minutes before it explodes." Voss made an instant decision. "Activate emergency separation protocol. Detach the command module." The ship's AI responded immediately. "Emergency separation confirmed. All personnel report to emergency stations." As the crew rushed to their evacuation points, Voss took one last look at the tactical display. The alien fleet had been destroyed, but at what cost? The quantum weapon had torn holes in space itself that were still growing, and Earth still faced the massive ships from another dimension. With a thunderous series of explosions, the command module of the terminus separated from the dying vessel. Voss and the bridge crew felt the jolt as the smaller section pulled away just in time. Behind them, the main body of the terminus glowed white-hot before detonating with the force of a small sun, lighting up the darkness between the ice giants. In the suddenly quiet command module, Voss looked out at the debris field that had been a battlefield moments before. Earth's surviving ships approached slowly, their hulls scarred but intact. "Did we win?" asked a young officer, breaking the silence. Voss didn't answer immediately. They had survived this battle, but the war was far from over. Earth was still under attack, and the quantum weapon that might have saved it was now gone. Yet something told her that this wasn't the end, that the true purpose of the terminus and its alien core had yet to be revealed. "Status report," she finally said, "and prepare to receive the fleet captains. We need to plan our next move." The command module of the destroyed USS Terminus drifted silently through the debris field. Inside, Commander Ilara Voss and her 7 surviving officers worked to keep their systems running. Life support was functioning at minimal levels, providing just enough oxygen and heat to keep them alive. "Rescue ships approaching, Commander," announced Communications Officer Reyes. His voice was hoarse from the smoke that had filled the bridge. "During their escape, 3 vessels from Earth's fleet. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Voss nodded and moved to the small viewport. Through it, she could see the remains of the battlefield. Pieces of both human and alien ships floated in the darkness, glinting in the distant sunlight. Their quantum weapon had worked perhaps too well. The alien fleet was destroyed, but the blast had torn holes in space that were still visible as rippling distortions against the star field. "How many Earth ships survived?" she asked. 8 of the original 12, replied Malik, who was treating a burn on his arm. "Not bad odds, considering what we faced." Voss turned from the viewport and looked at her exhausted crew. They had fought bravely, but she knew their battle was far from over. The massive alien ships, the ones the first aliens had warned about, were still attacking Earth. "There's something I need to do before the rescue ships arrive," she said. Voss moved to her small private quarters at the rear of the command module. Inside, she went directly to a hidden panel in the wall. Sliding it open, she removed a small data crystal that glowed with a faint blue light. For 3 days, while the Terminus had prepared for battle, Voss had been secretly collecting and analyzing information. Everything she learned about the ship The aliens and the Hegemony Council was stored in this crystal. She studied it in her palm. The complete truth, Thor, at least as much of it as she had been able to piece together. The quantum communications array suddenly activated. Its screen, lighting up with static. Voss frowned. The array shouldn't be working at all, given their damaged systems. Commander called Reyes from the bridge. We're receiving a transmission, but it's not from the rescue ships. Voss returned to the bridge, the data crystal tucked safely in her uniform pocket. Source: unknown, Reyes replied, looking confused. It's coming from deep space, beyond our solar system. But the signal strength is impossibly strong. Put it on screen, Voss ordered. The main view screen flickered, and then showed an image that made everyone on the bridge gasp. It was a massive vessel, clearly of human design, but unlike anything currently in Earth's fleet. Its hull bore the marks of countless battles. Its design showed technology far beyond current capabilities. The image shifted to show the ship's commander. Voss felt a chill run down her spine. The woman on the screen had her face older, with more scars and completely white hair but unmistakably her own. Commander Elara Voss, said the woman, her voice eerily similar to Voss's own. I know this will be difficult to accept, but I need you to listen carefully. Voss stepped closer to the screen. Who are you? I am you, 50 years from now, replied the older Voss. The temporal loop is closing, Commander. What you've done here isn't the end of the war, it's the beginning of one that will span millennia and dimensions. The bridge crew looked at each other in confusion and shock, but Voss remained focused on the screen. The terminus was never just a warship, continued the older Voss. It was the first attempt to break the cycle. A cycle that has repeated itself countless times across multiple realities. What cycle? Voss demanded. Humanity discovers alien technology, builds the terminus, fights the Guardians, the crystalline ships you just defeated, and faces the void beings, the massive ships now attacking Earth. Some humans survive. They build better ships, fight again, and again. Each cycle, the same pattern with small variations. The older Voss looked tired, the weight of decades visible in her eyes. The quantum core you used as a weapon was actually designed to seal dimensional breaches. The Guardians were trying to stop you from using it incorrectly because they knew what would happen next. As if to confirm her words, the view screen split to show images from Earth. The massive alien ships, the void beings, were using the dimensional tiers, created by the Terminus's weapon, to bring even more of their kind into our reality. We stop them? Voss asked. You can't. Not yet, replied her older self. Earth will fall in this cycle, but humanity will survive. Small colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan will escape detection. They'll rebuild, develop new technology, and eventually create ships that can travel not just through space, but time. Voss felt the data crystal in her pocket grow warm. The data I collected contains the truth about the Terminus and the aliens. The older Voss nodded. That crystal contains the key to eventually breaking the cycle. In every previous loop, that data was lost when the rescue ships arrived. A warning alarm sounded. Rescue vessels 2 minutes from docking, announced. The ship's computer. Need to make a choice now, said the older Voss urgently. If you give that data to Earth authorities, they will use it to build more weapons, and the cycle will continue. But if you give it to someone who will hide it until humanity is ready. Voss understood immediately. She turned to medical officer. Park, the quietest and most thoughtful of her surviving crew. Doctor, I need to speak with you privately. In the small medical bay, Voss quickly explained what she had learned and gave Park the data crystal. Your family has that cabin in the mountains of New Zealand. When we return to Earth, take this there and hide it. Tell no one. Park nodded, solemnly. How will anyone find it when they need it? They will, Voss said, somehow certain. When the time is right? They returned to the bridge just as the rescue ships docked with the command module. The transmission from the future ship had ended, but Voss could still see the image of her older self in her mind. As the airlock opened and rescue teams rushed in, Voss made her final decision. She would not tell them about the transmission or the true nature of the quantum core. Some truths needed to remain hidden until humanity was ready to hear them. The rescue team leader approached her. "Commander Voss, we need to evacuate immediately. Earth is under heavy attack, and we've been ordered to fall back to the Mars defense line." Voss nodded and gave the order for her crew to board the rescue vessels. As she stepped through the airlock, herself, she took one last look at the command module of the terminus, the beginning of a story that would span centuries above. The stars themselves seemed to shift in strange patterns that no astronomical model could explain. It was as if the universe itself was acknowledging that a threshold had been crossed, a point from which there could be no return. As the rescue ship pulled away, Voss stood at its viewport, watching space ripple around them. She didn't know if her choice would ultimately save humanity or doom it. But for the first time since taking command of the terminus, she felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. The journey ahead would be long and filled with hardship, but somewhere in the future, another Alara Voss was fighting to break the cycle. And perhaps this time, things would be different.